Book your driving lesson now at dla-driving.co.uk. Sponsored by DLA Driving School.
Hello and welcome to Owen the Town. I'm Lou Gregory and here's what's coming up today. Luton start the championship season with a 0-0 draw at home to Birmingham after they held out for a clean sheet. Look, were we maybe underestimating Birmingham? Last week we all said in the podcast how we maybe thought we could do them 3-4, 5-0. They turned up, bit of a stubborn defence and 0-0 draw. Point to start the season. Not bad at all, really. Today we discuss that game in more detail. Also, look at Luke Freeman's debut. He was the guy that looked like if we were going to score, it would maybe come through him. Very good player. Today we discuss him. And also, looking ahead to Burnley, what would you change to Burnley? Does anything need to change? What kind of formation do we need to play? We'll be discussing that as well. Dave's with me tonight. Batara, unfortunately, due to now being a dad, is kind of busy tonight. So he unfortunately cannot join us. But I'm sure he's listening.
It's unfortunate, isn't it? But he'll come back next week, hopefully.
Football's back then, Dave. What did you make of Saturday?
Well, firstly, it was lovely to be back at Kenilworth Road. Atmosphere was good. The pre-drinks was good. The football was pretty good as well, I thought. It's just a shame it didn't have that final bit on the end that would have put the icing on the cake for a couple of goals. But you know, there's some really positive things coming out from that game. A couple of really good performances, in my view, from players. And we can only go up from that, and we didn't lose.
Last week on our preview show, the brand new preview show, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out on YouTube. The Birmingham fan we had on basically said, look, I'll take a draw. And we kind of sat there and we all went, Vittorio went 5-0. We both said 3-0. It just felt like it wasn't to be at all on Saturday. I think you even texted me one stage going, it just doesn't feel like we're going to score. No,
there was a point at which you could see that Birmingham came tactically to do what they did. And they played their tactics well. They played quite strong in areas. They defended pretty well. I think they come here on the off chance that they might get a chance and score. And it's ironic that the first shot on target was from them. Other than that, you know, I don't really remember it being too hard with regards to us defending at times, but they did the job, didn't they? They came, they got a point. They'd be very happy with that.
Should we look at some 3-word reviews then? Our first set of championship 3-word reviews of the season. Dave says steady start. Matt says decent point overall. Old Luton shirt says time wasting Brummies. Jill should have won. Steve said end product missing. John, newbies look decent. Sean says didn't concede 5. Richard says goals are coming. Phil says lacked match sharpness.
Well, you say lack match sharpness because we didn't get a goal. I thought some of the team were really up for it. I mean, one player in particular with sharpness, Adebayo, wasn't firing on all cylinders as far as I could see. Decent point for definite. Decent point. Always a point's a point. You know, it's one more to the total. End product missing. Yeah, he's right, Steve. We didn't create enough clear-cut chances to on target, you know, and we didn't put them away. We had a couple of really decent chances, but there is more good to come out of that game than bad. So, you know, I'm not too worried. We didn't lose, and that's the main thing. We didn't concede 5, Sean, and I'm thankful for that.
Jill says we should have won. Do you reckon the Luton squad look back at that and feel maybe a little bit disappointment that they didn't get the win, or can they look at it as a point and just go, look, first game of the season, anything can happen. We didn't concede, like you said. Let's take the point. What do you reckon they're thinking?
I think the manager's saying to them, we've got a point. Let's move on. I think the players think they could have won that game, and you know, with hindsight, I think they could have won that game. But it just the on-target shots weren't enough. There weren't enough of them, and it was really hard to play against the tactics that Birmingham had. But you know, that's what you do, isn't it? That's how you come. You shut up shop, and then they got a lot better. But it was that stalemate, and I think I did text you and say, you know, first shot on target, and it's not us.
Yeah.
And then it got to that frustrating point where you wanted to shoot more, and it didn't happen.
I kind of felt, obviously I wasn't at the game. Dave was keeping me updated on text, but I think I was following like live text commentary coming through, and I just kind of felt more as time went on and we were ticking into the second half and it was getting into 60 and 65, and I was just thinking, I think it's like, are they just going to nick a goal? Are we going to concede here? But look, it was disappointing not to get the win, but a point it is to start the season.
I sort of know what you're saying, because I actually did say to the guys with me at the game that I thought if we scored one, we would get 2 or 3. That's how I felt. I felt they would have to come up at us. But the longer it went on, the more you thought, are they going to nick a goal? And, thankfully they didn't. But, they were delighted with their point. We can just take that point and say, okay, that's great, let's move on. Because let's be honest, the Birmingham fans last week were saying they expect to have a relegation fight this season.
Yeah.
So, they'll be happy with that.
Well, the starting 11 to start the first championship game of the season, there's a few changes here, which I think surprised a lot of Luton fans, especially with how well Doughty's been in pre-season. Obviously, he missed out due to injury. Reece Burke missed out as well. So it was Horvath, Bree, Osho, Bradley, Potts, Bell, Campbell, Clark, Freeman, Morris, Adebayo. Strong starting 11. Happy to see Morris and Adebayo up front. Hadn't seen much of Freeman in pre-season because he's kind of been in and out of the team as well, but realistically, it's not a bad 11. It's quite a strong 11.
I think our squad in depth is amazing, and it's hard to say what is our strongest first team yet because we haven't seen them playing enough. However, that team is good enough to beat anybody at this moment, isn't it? They just didn't. I think for me, the only one that didn't play to his full strengths on Saturday was Adebayo.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I literally don't know. Maybe he's just not up to that match fitness yet. He just looked a bit out of it towards the end of the game when he was substituted. But, I'm really happy with some of those names in there. They're all good enough to be in it. And that I think that shows the strength of our squad this season compared even to last season. You can have 5 subs now. So, it's amazing that we've got that depth that we have right now.
Well, we definitely went off to a good start, didn't we? And I kept reading online that the first 10-15 minutes we were brilliant in the way we were getting the ball forward, and Luke Freeman was just kind of like dancing around defenders. He had that first opportunity really, didn't he? One where he's kind of beaten the defender and he's had this low shot that's been saved by the keeper, but he does look a brilliant player, and we're going to talk about it in a bit. But
he was a joy to watch. It was a joy to watch. It just fascinating to see someone with that injection of pace, his knowledge. It was brilliant. He was really, really good to see. And also, I thought Bree had a really good game too. So yeah, and then you've got your reliables. You've got Clark and Campbell up there. And at this point in the very first few minutes, you think if we keep this pace up, we're going to get a goal. There's no way we're not going to score. But the clear shots on goal weren't enough of them. But, that's the fan talking. Maybe the manager's going, well, we did everything we could.
Yeah, and you look at the chances we did create in the game, and maybe on another day, Cornick smashes that one in the bottom corner in that second half, or Morris cuts in and it just sneaks in. And, it's like Nathan Jones did last season. It's fine margins, isn't it? And, in this league, you've got to take your opportunities when they do come.
And you've got to create them as well. And that is the point, isn't it? You can busily play as much possession football as you want. You can be as quick as you want. But the ultimate aim is to create that opening to have a shot. And I think we need to shoot more at times. But I can't be critical of their contribution to the game on Saturday, because I thought most of the team, in my opinion, played pretty well. It's the first game of the season. It's not like... it's not like we've been playing for 20 games and now you're going, well, actually, we're not scoring. It's the first game. You're playing against a stalwart defensive side who came to time waste a bit, and I don't blame them for that, fall over when they got tackled if they needed to. They managed their game real well. And what we didn't do was just take it that little bit further and score a goal.
I was going to say, Birmingham kind of had their first few shots on goal, nothing too major and quite easy for the keeper to handle, but it did seem like they come with this game plan of, look, we're going to play for a point here. We're going to play and frustrate the Kenilworth Road crowd. And I guess they'll be leaving the happier the two teams at the weekend. But their time wasting, Nathan Jones touched on it. Luke Freeman touched on it in his post-match interview as well. It's frustrating to deal with, but I guess we got to start taking this as a compliment. Teams are coming to us now going, if we can get a point at Kenilworth Road, that's a good point.
Well, it is a compliment, and it's not great to watch. but don't forget we've done it ourselves. And you want to get the point. If we did that against Burnley on Saturday, I'd be quite happy to come away with a point. So, we've got to get around those tactics. If someone time wastes, you've just got to go around it somehow. And the only way to get anything positive is to shoot at that goal and score one, And I think the time wasting thing, the referees are meant to be cracking down on that this season.
Yeah.
And, the referee didn't do that. We're already on the match officials, but he didn't do that. And what is there's not much of a punishment. If a goalkeeper time wastes, you get a yellow card. I've never seen a goalkeeper, and someone will come up with a stat that says, I've seen it. I've never seen a goalkeeper sent off for time wasting. They book him, and then that's that done, and he does the same thing. So I think we've got to get over the time wasting, but they did manage the game well, and we couldn't cope with it in the end. We couldn't get over that hurdle.
But if you look at the results last season, obviously 5-0 and the 3-0 to Birmingham, I guess you can always say, look, that's an improvement on last season already. Maybe they're not as strong as they were last season, but definitely looked okay at the weekend, definitely defensively to hold their own.
There were some standout players for me on Saturday. Freeman being one of them. I thought Bree had a great game. I liked Clark's contribution. Morris, I loved Morris's contribution. You could see him in that number 9 shirt, and you're thinking he's going to score. He is going to score goals for us. That's what I thought. And the only disappointment I thought Eddie Bear was just a little bit out of steam or out of pace towards the end of the game, and not quite himself that he was last season. But it's the first game. So I'm not worrying about that. But I think we've got a cracking strike force. They will score goals.
Cooley Woodrow came on, made his competitive return to Kenilworth Road. It came on for Morris. What do you make of Cooley back at Kenilworth Road?
Do you know, it's just a joy to see him there, isn't it? It's just that little bit of extra quality that we've recruited again, like we said before. We've recruited well, ex-Premier League player. He showed a bit of class. He had a good strike at goal. Yeah, and the more he plays, the better it'll become. I
always think as well, when you're bringing on a player such as Cooley Woodrow, it's just that half chance he's going to need to score a goal. And I kind of kept thinking, all right, we're ticking into 80 now, but I'm thinking if Harry Corney can get down the right wing and maybe just pull it back and it just falls into that perfect position for Cooley Woodrow, just a him type of finish, you've always got that option. Yeah, and it would have been exciting to see that. And who's not to say that's going to happen in future? He didn't quite work out at the weekend, but he's a strong player still. He wouldn't have been recruited if he wasn't good enough, and it's exciting to see him play. And Cameron Jerome coming on as well for the last few stages, and again, gives you something different that maybe in them last few minutes, if you do want to go a bit direct, can Woodrow or Cornick get off a flick on from Jerome? But these 5 subs are definitely going to help us, aren't they? Game-changing substitutions from the 5 subs. I would have said Jerome was brought on exactly for that method. Let's go a little bit more direct. Let's see what we can get. The fact that he'd taken Morris off already, I thought Morris was the most likely to score on Saturday at some points. But, we know that Jerome can do that. We know that he's good at taking those opportunities when they arise. And at the time, as I keep saying, Adebayo was not up to game speed at that point, so he needed to come off. And I would have probably taken him off before Morris. So, I think he did well to stay on as long as he did. But it was still not a bad game. The atmosphere was great. It was great to be back at the Kenny. It was great that it was full up. It's just a shame we didn't get that point. Why is it nowadays we get the attendance read out and we always get sarcastic cheers from the away end? I understand, we're not the biggest fan base at the moment at home, but it's like, if we sell out, what else can we do? What are they cheering for? Well, because... It just annoys me. Because it's 10 and a bit, isn't it? I've been in that stadium when there's been 20 plus in there. Birmingham don't sell out their games, do they? So, at the end of the day... I suppose they've just been given 1,200 tickets, and they think it's quite funny if there's only 10,000 in the ground, and we're all happy. Easily amused then. Some stats and facts from the game at the weekend. Only 4 shots on target for Luton, 3 on target for Birmingham as well. Our XG was 1.42, theirs being 0.72. It's like you said, David, at the start of this, just struggled to get them shots on target with 14 shots and only 4 on target. Yeah, and it's just got about converting them more, isn't it now? There wasn't maybe
was it the Cornick shot that I said I thought he could have scored for? But there wasn't any of those really, really big chances where you thought, oh man, we totally should have scored there. You're not those tap-ins, nothing. So it's the first game. Everybody's up for the first game.
Did you see Coventry's goal against Sunderland yesterday?
No.
Basically identical to what Cornick had, apart from the Coventry's one just nestled in that bottom corner. It is then fine margins where a few inches to the left, maybe that does just go in off the post.
But they've got the same number of points as us. So, at the end of the day, you've got to be happy that we didn't concede. Another clean sheet. What a great way to start the season with a clean sheet. The goalkeeper looks pretty sound. The only complaint is we could have got 3. We could have got 3, but we didn't, which is quite sad.
New season, but producer Jacob still doing some brilliant stats on the running order. Well done, producer Jacob. In the EFL, Luton have drawn their opening league match in 3 of their last 15 seasons. 1-10, drawn 3, lost 2. I did think that we don't really lose many times on the first game of the season. I can't remember the last time we lost.
Oh, don't go there. I always used to go to
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth at home. Portsmouth away we lost.
Yeah, 1-0.
Don't make my memory go back that far.
Who was the other team? There we go. That's one for our podcast listeners right now. So in our last 15 seasons in the EFL, who do we lose to? Portsmouth 1-0 in our League One season, with 1-10, drawn 3 and lost another one. Who was that against?
Well, I'll wait to see the responses.
We played Borough last year, not first season.
Yeah, don't spend too much time.
I just want to know. Let us know. Comment below. Owen the Town or on socials. Get us there as well.
Back in the day, though, I used to worry about the first game of the season far, far too much. I used to think if you didn't win it, then that's going to set you up for the season. But it's not like that anymore. And I refer you to what I said last week on the podcast. Look what happened to Nottingham Forest. They had a poor start and ended up getting promoted. So, 1 point is better than no points. We've got a clean sheet. We've got a fantastic squad. We can definitely move on and we can definitely get some goals and score and win some games.
Batari said last season as well, at this stage, you can't really judge until you've had at least like 10, 11, 12 games in as well. So, look, let's let the new squad find their feet. And again, it's exciting times, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, looking at one of the standout players of the weekend, Luke Freeman got a lot of plaudits on social media for his performance. Had some good stats as well. 70 minutes on the pitch, 3 shots, 3 dribbles, 83% pass accuracy, a couple of key passes as well. He does look like, I know he's on the later stages of his career and he's into his 30s now, but my mate is a QPR fan. Texts me Saturday morning saying, since when have you signed Luke Freeman? He was a baller back in the day. So he's still clearly quite highly thought of.
Game-wise, he was excellent. And we played through him quite a lot. He was quite pivotal at times. He's quick. And I liked the way that he moved around. And I liked his vision was cool. His passing was accurate. I actually thought he was a standout player on Saturday. Quite excited to have someone. You say he's 30, it doesn't matter. He's got a couple more years in him yet, minimum. And, he was brilliant, actually. I have to say, I can't fault his performance. It would have been great if he'd scored, but can't fault his performance.
From that performance, obviously Nathan Jones has told us about his injury past and we know about his problems and stuff, but do you see him potentially being one that is a must start every single week?
The must start is a difficult question because I think you play to tactical games these times. So I think he starts if he's fit. I think he starts every time if he's fit. If he's not, then he'll be a sub player, won't he? But I think if he's on the pitch, I think we can get really excited about him being on the pitch because he really stood out. Different class.
And we asked you guys what you made of Luke Freeman on his debut. Ad says he looked very lively early on and surprisingly got stuck in more than I thought he would. Definitely could have got man of the match. However, as the game went on, I felt like he did start to burn out a bit and the change for Woodrow was probably the right call to make.
Well, that's fair enough. He put in a real big shift. And for me, I think he was our man. I don't even know who got awarded the man of the match, to be fair. But I think he was one of the standout players on Saturday.
And I guess as well with, like we said, the 5 subs right now, maybe players now can go in and burn themselves out a bit quicker as long as they're not getting injured, that we have got the 5 sub rule to bring on a player like Woodrow now.
Well, exactly
or
that.
Or Berry or...
Exactly that. The game has changed slightly, hasn't it? Because we have more options now. And so rather than when they used to try and protect a player for a little bit longer or just put him on or take him off a little bit earlier. Now they can push on and you've got 5 replacements. Whereas in the past, you didn't. You had 3 and you couldn't risk making that player play more.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'd like to think that he's got more in him than that, and I think he'll be a 90-minute player, as we go further in. He played well. I may take him off because we wanted to change tactics, wanted to change the way that we were playing, put a different angle on it. He played really well.
Luton Report says, everything you wanted from a debutant, strong, determined, fast and intelligent.
Exactly that. He's very, very strong, and his vision in his head was really good. His match awareness was brilliant. Yeah, he just, honestly, if you'd have been there, Luke, you'd have seen it. That he was the standout player by far for a lot of the game.
Chris says he was very good. Our best moments came when we played through him and Clark. We become a bit more predictable with the direct balls over the fullbacks, but when Freeman got on it, the better chances came.
Yeah, can't argue.
It's just nice as well to have, like, obviously we see it from Jordan Clark all the time, the way he's on the ball, and it's just nice to have another player that can maybe fill that KDH role that maybe we missed over the last couple of seasons without him, or last season without him. Yeah,
we got to put our minds away from KDH now. He's gone, and these players that we've got now are pretty decent. And Freeman is one of those players that will give us those opportunities. He will make he will make opportunities. Like Chris just said, he played through him. He was pivotal in some of the moves. He was really decent, really decent. And him alongside Clark, it's fantastic.
Bobby says, thought he was excellent. I can see why Nathan Jones was so keen to land him. Alan, outstanding. He's going to be one hell of a player for us. Joe says he's quality, probably one of our best players. Can see him filling that KDH role that we've been missing. There we go. What we said.
Okay.
And Jason said, I thought he was our best player today. He's tenacious, strong, and doesn't shut up, which I love. We're going to love him, I think.
And he's the sort of player that we love at Kenilworth Road, Jason. You're totally right. And you could see he wanted to play the game. You could see how good it was. And let's hope we see that on Saturday.
It's going to be a tough game on Saturday, and obviously we're going to be previewing the Burnley game on our brand new show, which is going to be out on Friday morning, Thursday night. So if you want to subscribe to go and see that this week, it'll be exciting. But we are going to quickly touch about Burnley and what we think needs to change from Saturday for next weekend, because if anything does need to change, but it's just fun to talk about, isn't it?
Well, first things have got to change. We've got to score, but we don't need to change the other bit. Just don't concede. I don't know what everybody else expects, but if we get the chances, we need to take them. We can't afford not, because I don't think we're going to get many there. So the ones that we do create, we've got to take one chance at least, and to be in with a chance of anything.
Well, that's the thing. Obviously, Burnley played last Friday night on telly against Huddersfield. They looked unreal, and you kind of look at this thinking, can we go into this again with a back 5? Do we need to change to a back 4? Or is it, how can we change? Do we change formation, or how do we cope with Burnley's new attacking, passing style of play?
For me personally, I think you approach attacking with attacking sometimes. I think sometimes you set up to defend and you set up too deep, and then that type of new style of play that they've got might give us a bit of grief. So, the best form of defence sometimes is attack, isn't it? Because you have to put them on the back foot occasionally. If we press them up, I think we'll do well. We just don't want to concede early, and if we don't concede early, maybe we've got a better chance.
We asked you guys what needs to happen against Burnley. Any squad changes, any formation changes? Dan says formation is okay. Can maybe see Freeman dropping out and being a bit more defensive, so Lansbury will probably come in, which will push Clark forward. Burke for Potts if he's fit, and maybe Cornick up front for Morris to give us an option on the counter.
Oh, I can see that with Cornick's speed, but honestly, I thought Morris had a great game on Saturday. I'd like to see him start, if I'm honest. I'd like to see him start.
Can you see this a game, though, for someone like Henry Lansbury to come in, maybe for more of one of them attacking midfielders, and give us an option just to maybe just be a bit more defensive in that midfield area if we're going to be needing to stop the talent Burnley clearly have? That's
a fair point, isn't it? But Burnley have changed their style, haven't they? So it's a difficult one, really. Henry Lansbury would be a good addition, but if we started with the same team we started with Saturday, I think we'd still be up for a shout.
you said sometimes the best way to do it is attack
yeah.
with attack. Carter basically says the same thing. He says need to press hard, and I'd have outright pace up front, because if we pick up the ball from them, then we're on the counter. Morris and Cornick up top for me for this one.
Yeah, see, I think we disregarded Morris from Saturday, and we shouldn't have done, because he had an exceptionally quite a good game. In my view, he stood out, and you're going to give him some proper chances to score. I think he'll take them, and he could be a high goal scorer for us. And so him alongside Adebayo, I agree. Cornick would provide the best sort of crosses for him.
Matt says, after watching Burnley on Friday night, game plan is key. Time waste, play dirty, and bring home a point.
Hey, listen, I know we're going. I don't care how ugly the game is. I really don't. And, we won't win a lot of plaudits for that. But if we come back with a point and play like that, we're all going to be happy, aren't we? That's the point, Don't lose, don't concede. If we can stop the goals going in is the first part of it. Time waste, play dirty, bring home a point. I'll take that.
The thing is with a tactic like that is I can see us potentially doing that sometimes, but I also think like Nathan Jones probably thinks as a squad we are more than capable than holding our own and still approaching the game to try and win it. Like I don't think, whereas some teams come to us and they just go, no, I'm not interested in winning this game at all I want to do is keep out the goals. I kind of feel like we're not like that as a club, and I feel like we do go to games thinking we can win this.
I think a lot more now. We all think that. I think the players are not stupid. When you're going to do a team, they're going to go and say, we're going to get opportunities. We take opportunities, we could win. So I like that sort of attitude, but realism in me says it's going to be really tough. It's going to be really tough. If we bring home a point, I generally don't care how it comes home. I really don't. Bring it home. I prefer it not to be dirty. I prefer it not to be time wasting. I would prefer it if we took the game to them and really give it a go. But if you do that and lose 5-0, then the tactics are wrong, aren't they?
Looking at the way Burnley did play against Huddersfield, I feel there's definitely an option there for a high press. But the second they get past it, and they've taken 3 or 4 players out of the game, and the talent they've got up front and in midfield, they could punish you.
True, absolutely true. But you know what? At the end of the day,
risk and reward in it.
But the thing is, we're as capable of doing that as they are. You get them on the counter, we can score. So let's hope that the game goes our way. And I think the minimum point would be great. I think that's the end of it. If we can go we can't go, head to head with them and match them in every department. We just can't. We haven't got their money or that can to do that. However, if we start well, you never know what might happen. And but I'll just go back to Matt one more time. If it's that way, then it's that way. I don't care.
Chaz says, get Burke and lock your fit, put a couple of chances away and we should be sorted. Sounds easy.
Yeah, put a couple of chances away,
Be good to see Burke and Lockyer back in the team if they can be fit enough.
And the strength and depth of our squad is brilliant. When everybody's fit, it's going to be high competition for places. I can only see our team getting better. Yeah, disappointed with the 0-0 on Saturday. We might be just as ecstatic with a 0-0 this Saturday. It's there if we want it.
Well, I'm quite excited. It's my first game of the season, so
you
nice
drive
up early. Yeah, you can drive up nice and early on our way to Burnley. We'll be previewing the Burnley game in more detail as well as talking to a Burnley fan off another podcast on our preview show, brand new preview show, which started last week. It comes out Thursday nights, Friday mornings on YouTube. If you set a little reminder so you don't miss that, and get it on for your journey up to Burnley to hear what they think about the game against us at the weekend. To finish today, there's some news producer Jacob's put down here. Club news. I love this little section on the running order.
As he confirmed for last week that I didn't get a place in the front two at Luton and Adebayo staying.
Yeah, what?
I said, club news last week that Adebayo was going to go to the MLS, and I said I've got more chance of playing up front.
You didn't play up front though, did you?
No. And has Adebayo gone?
No.
There you go.
Well, yeah. More transfer news this week.
Sorry about that.
So I just got well confused.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to do it.
John McAtee from Grimsby we've been linked with, a young attacking mid. Producer Jacobs put here. I think he's like 22, 23 years old. Scored 22 goals last season, I think, for Grimsby in the National League. It's an interesting one because the fee rumoured is $500,000.
Right. And is he not playing for them now then?
But apparently he's out of contract in a year's time. So now we can probably get him for a good price. But from what Grimsby fans are saying about him is 500k is worth a lot more than that. Obviously, every fan thinks that about their own player.
Yeah.
But at 23 in League Two now with 22 goals in the National League, is it kind of like risk-free just taking that?
We'll give it a go. I mean, I got to be fair. I don't really know him as a player, so I'll take him on the stats you just give me. If their supporters are saying he's worth more than that, then perhaps they see, in the same way. If I say this, when we signed Campbell, all their supporters, they were saying, this is a great signing, and initially I didn't think it was, but he's a brilliant signing. So sometimes the fans know, don't they? So let's hope that we are, and he's as good as they say we are.
And again, you look at what Adebayo come in from a League Two club and did as well.
Yeah.
At similar ages as well. Maybe McAtee can come in and just be that extra player that maybe if he is that attacking midfielder, producer Jacob says he is here, that we were obviously after the kid from Wimbledon who ended up going to Huddersfield, Radoni, maybe this is filling that void and on that transfer. And
if we take him on, then there's another bit more depth in the squad. And if he's coming in the team fairly quickly, brilliant. And, if he's given the choice, come and play for Championship Luton or stay at Grimsby, he's coming, isn't he?
Obviously, we lost Naismith, and Nathan Jones said recently that he would like to add another centre-half. Do you think we still need to add a centre-half now Potts is slotting into that back three?
I think he didn't have a bad game. So I can't really answer that question if I'm honest. We've got some strong players at the back. They all can do a job. But do we need another recognised one? Do we need no, I don't know is the answer to that question.
I think if something comes available that we can take that's going to improve us, like Nathan Jones always says, or if there's a young one we can get in that's one that in 2 years' time will be unreal, then why not bring him in?
Well, yeah, there is that. But, then it says, why have we left it so long to recruit that person when we know Naismith had gone weeks ago?
I don't know. I don't work at the club to...
Well, but that's the point, isn't it? The point there is that, do we need another centre-half was your question. Well, we've got several players that can play in that position. So who do you then say doesn't play, and how good does this other person have to be to get in your squad? And Nathan always says he's only going to bring in people that will enhance the squad. So if you can't find the right person, then we're not going to bring one in, are we?
It does just feel like we're in a good position though, doesn't it?
It's great.
The way we did recruit over the summertime, and you look at that, I know the first game of the season wasn't a win, but positive performances, positive players, and again, just looking forward to more games. And I kind of felt like when I got home from work on Saturday night and I watched the highlights and I watched bits of the Luton game back, and I just thought, I wish it was Saturday already now. I just wish the Burnley game was tomorrow, because I'm really looking forward to it now.
I think there's a couple of different opinions on social media from some sites, and I look at it and you can't criticise a team this early in the season. You literally can't. Give it 5, 6, 7, 8 games, then you can. The excitement for Saturday was there totally. And don't forget, we've got this mid-season break this year. So I think you've got to set out your stall before we stop in November. So, it's exciting. I can't wait for Saturday. It'd be great at Burnley.
Be really interesting to see how mid-season break would impact our squad. I think we touched that actually recently.
But I think it will impact on it. But there you go. So if we haven't won a few games by the time we get to November, the season restarts in December, and you're on a second part of a season, but we could treat it like a new one. Look, our expectations are quite high because of where we finished last season and how we performed last season. And I know I don't want to be disappointed if we don't be the same again. However, there is a chance that we might not make the top 6, 7, 8, 9 this season. It's a strong league. It's a strong league.
It is a strong league. I was looking at the league table the other day, and every single team I was looking at, I was thinking, they could finish top 6. They could finish top 6. Yeah. And it was kind of like, when you're sitting there trying to pick 3 teams to go down, and you're looking like Sunderland going, I don't know, they might not finish in the bottom 3. And you just kind of think, it's just such an unpredictable league. You don't know who's going to finish where. Well, it's going to be tough to get in that top 6, but again, if we can, it would be an unreal achievement.
And this season, no points deductions for anybody yet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a difficult one, and you just got to look at those teams that come down from the Premier League. You've got to look at, teams that can't perform as badly as they did last season, and it does get quite worrying. But I think we're a top half team now. I think we could be quite established there. And again, if we flirt with playoffs again this season, I'll be loving it. And I love the football. I love being there, and it's great.
Look at the next 5 league games. Burnley away, Preston at home, Bristol City away, Swansea away, Sheffield United at home. Very tough fixtures.
See, you just said that now. I've looked down and think, oh, God, where are we going
Because
with
it's
this?
like on paper, you look at them away days and you think Burnley away, Bristol City away and Swansea away. I know we won at Swansea last season and we got a point at Bristol City.
None of those teams are mugged. You can't sit there and go, we can win 3 of those. Well, you could, but you have to be a bit more realistic. I'd like to think we can get some points.
It should be nice to get that first win, wouldn't it? Just get it on the board.
Yeah, get it on the board Saturday. That'll set us up, wouldn't it? Yeah, it'll be sorted. But there's no, like I've just said to you, there is no easy games in this division. None. Absolutely none. We just need, like you say, get a couple of games, get a couple of wins under our belt, and then we'll all relax a little bit.
Well, I can't wait for it. Burnley v Luton on Saturday. Our preview show out Friday morning on YouTube and Thursday night on audio on your podcast app. That's all we got time for today. Sorry Batara wasn't here. We're going to make sure he's here next week no matter what.
Can I have the week off?
No, look, we need to keep the team together here, even if it's bringing little Roman round and he can sit on the podcast as well and cry down the mic, whatever it takes. But yeah, we'll see you on Saturday away at Burnley. Thank you so much for watching. Get us on YouTube if you've never watched us before. Thank you so much for listening and we'll see you next week.